We are back to the age-old debate about double standards and racial hypocrisy, which has reared its ugly head once again. Hello viewers and welcome back to our channel. Now, a recent video has surfaced showcasing a palm-colored woman's misguided attempt to justify her use of a racial slur. Her reasoning: if a black person can say it, then she should be able to say it as well. What she needs is validation to say it. Say it then. If you want to say it, go ahead and say it. But you will definitely face the consequences. Like, I always want to understand this obsession that non-black people have with saying this word. Like, what's the obsession really about? But here's the thing. That's not how it works, because the history of racism and oppression in this country has created a power dynamic that cannot be ignored. The fact that a palm-colored person can use a racial slur and face many more consequences, while a black person can be analyzed for simply just existing, is a sad reminder of this reality. Now, in this video, we'll be discussing the absurdity of this woman's argument and the broader implications of racial double standards in our society. From cultural appropriation to systemic inequality, we will explore the ways in which racism continues to permeate every aspect of our lives. Pardon my voice, I have a terrible flu and cough, but we still have to talk about these things. So with that said, let's take a look at these videos. I will be right back.
If a black person can say the word, a white person can say the word. If a black person can do this, a white person can.
If a white person can curse out a cop and not get killed, a black person should be able to curse out a cop and not get killed for it. If a white master can walk into a church and blow away innocent people and get Burger King afterward, then a black person should be able to get pulled over for a traffic violation and not. If white people can storm the Capitol and smear feces all over it because their president didn't win an election, then black people should be able to burn down anything that we want to, riot and loot in the streets all day for all of the that y'all do to us on a regular basis in this country. If a white person can build their whole career off of black talent and what black people have done that they had nothing to do with creating but merely imitated, then a black person should be able to get paid to sit on this app and do nothing. And P.S., we know y'all say the word. You're not asking our permission. You just want to be able to say it without getting fucked up for doing it.
Sis covered all the bases when she stitched that oxygen stealer. But this is exactly why I am getting out of here. And I'm telling you, I know it's a bunch of y'all that already left and some of y'all that are getting like me and getting gone, making your plans. And I'm telling you, it's stuff like this that just further, like, just makes me get so excited about the future. You know, I've been doing my soul searching, doing my money searching, doing all my stuff. And I know that there is a place on this planet, some good dirt, some good grass, some good trees, some good clean air, where I ain't got to deal with oxygen stealers like that piece of, that was just talking. And the sad thing is, if you live in the United States, there's no state in the whole United States that is where the entire state is safe. There's pockets and areas in the states where you can be okay, but overall, anywhere you live, you're going to have to deal with some BS like this, because this idea of white being right is inbred, is ingrained in every institution. Do you understand? And it's so pervasive. It's like everybody's infected. You know, we're in the matrix here. So this is why I advocate for the Exodus. Yeah, getting gone, bye. Taking our talents, taking our beautiful selves, taking our soul, our culture, and getting the out of here. Bye-bye Christianity. Bye-bye so-called pseudo-white supremacy. Bye-bye white fragility. Bye-bye white fear, white tears. Bye-bye all that bullshit. So you can keep saying whatever you want. Like the homegirl said, we know you saying it behind our backs. This is why, since the election, I have been very, very cautious about how I move. Right? I was already cautious before, but I just had a little calling, a little something in my head that said, you know what? You need to back away even more. Back away even more. What did elder say? What did Muhammad Ali say? You got all them snakes coming in. You don't know which ones is poisonous and which ones ain't. You know, you gotta, because some of these people will have on a blue bracelet. They'll have on a blue bracelet. They'll vote for Harris and they'll still be buddy with someone who's calling you. Still be the ones that don't take up for you when you're not around. Still be the ones that is producing children that ultimately turn out to be. Just saying people. I hope you're going to get like me I'm looking forward to building a community with others of like-minded folks. I've already getting tapped into several different groups of people, and I'm just looking forward to finding even more here on the talk and getting out of here.
You Delulu. I want to see you go to a black neighborhood and do that. Make sure you film it.
Say it then. If you should be able, just say it. Go ahead.
Go ahead and go back and watch that video. The second woman is 1000% correct. 1000% correct. Here's another fun fact, folks. There's a whole generation of punk rock and new metal and all sorts of stuff like that who grew up on the ideas of and find out. We didn't have videos to show that we whipped ass, but guess what? We did. Okay? There was a lady not that long ago who decided to use this word with the hard R. Thought she was gonna get away with it. Well, if you can see right here on this knuckle right here, there's two little lines that go burp burp. That's her teeth. That's her teeth. So the long and the short of it is you are in a generational experience called and find out. You can go ahead and say that word with all your chest, but be aware, I will knock the breath out of it.
I don't even know what this post is about. I just heard some woman say the dumbest shit. You get me? Like, if white people can storm the Capitol and smear feces on it and stuff, then black people should be able to burn down whatever they want to burn. What are you talking about? Boy, get some education. No, the stuff.
What's going on TikTok? I know this back and forth definitely needs to stop because all it's doing is causing division. So if you haven't seen that video and then you end up watching it, that's pretty much how I see this whole thing. But I snippet this part for a reason. This is actually very crucial, in my opinion. So if you don't like my opinion, tough. Let me just air that out right now, because I know I'm going to have goofies in my comments after what I say, because it tends to happen like that when we speak the truth about real life shit, and y'all want to say we're delusional. But here we go. Parents. Teacher scholars to stop oversharing ideas. Yeah, it starts there. We have to teach our students to not overshare. We're so comfortable in oversharing ideas that we don't even realize we're doing it. We just think it's basic conversation. Yeah, we spill out too much. Think about it. Think about how many people this year you unfriended, or family members that you no longer talk to. And imagine how much oversharing you had done throughout the years. Okay? That you probably should have kept to yourself because it was your idea. You know. Or even on social media. Oh, you came up with this gadget or whatever like that and spread it out. Or your music. Especially, oh my God, I see this all the time in music. When I was heavy into to the music industry, oh my God. Please stop uploading your music to certain apps, because guess what? You can't go after certain people for copyright infringements. And you don't realize that they could steal your whole thing and give you nothing because you free aired it out with no black and white behind it. Artists, please stop doing that. Protect yourself, protect your talent. Artists the same way, clothes designers the same way. Please brand your shit black and white behind you, behind your brand, so no one can ever try to tap in. And if they do, guess what? Litigations will be lovely. Lovely. As much as I really don't like T.I. and Tiny because of what they represent, but the LOL dolls, learn from them. That's why they were able to what they did years after the fact and got a fat ass check. Brand yourself, brand your company, brand your kids. It's a real thing. Protect yourself, protect your kids. Teach them stop oversharing information. Major key. So there's less likely that someone could steal your idea. Teach your kids. Review yourself in conversations. And I bet you'll catch yourself not thinking about it, but you're definitely oversharing information. Education is elevation. Let's get it and let's do better.
It's given. Every time my mother told her to stop, or didn't let her get a word in because she was always wrong.
People who are not black should not say the word ever. I genuinely don't understand this fascination or this obsession that certain non-black people have with saying, like, guys, this isn't our word to claim, and it never will be. B isn't just a word, it has a lot of dark history to it. And just because the black community took it back and made it their own, that does not mean that those implications, those social and historical implications, are not there. And I know so many people who are like, well, my black friend said it was okay for me to use it. Or, oh, it comes out in hip hop, so therefore everybody should be able to use it. Are you dumb? Even if you don't know the full history behind that word, you have to be willing to learn and to be better by not using it. It's really not that hard to not say the. So if you are making excuses to try and weasel yourself out and say the word, you're a piece of shit.
Now, we know, at least in the history I've looked at, and in the history that we've all looked at, that most of us have looked at actually, the word started off as just a descriptor with no value attached to it. We know that as early as the 17th century, it evolved to the one with the GER at the end as intentionally derogatory. And it has never been able to shed that baggage since then. Even when black people talk about appropriating and reappropriating it, the poison is still there. Like, the word is inextricably linked with violence and brutality on black psyches and derogatory aspersions cast on black bodies. No degree of appropriating can rid it of that blood-soaked history. If you could keep the word within the context of the intimate environment among friends, then I can see that you could potentially own the word and control it. But you can't, because the word takes on a life of its own if it's not in that environment. So people like to talk about it in terms of public and private users. Jess Jackson was one of those who called for a moratorium on using the word, but then was caught using the word with a live mic during a private whispered conversation. Now, there's no way to know all of its nuances because it's such a complicated word, a word with a particular racialized American history. But one way of getting at it is to have some critical and historical discussions about it and not pretend that it doesn't exist, because it does exist. And I feel people should be having these conversations because some people, like this Pam color woman who's saying, Pam color people should be able to say the word because black people can say it. We should be talking about these conversations because they should know the reason why they can't say it. You just can't say it. You can't. And we also cannot pretend that there's not a double standard that blacks can say it without much social consequence, but Pam color people cannot. And that's the argument that she's giving. There's a double standard about a lot of stuff. And there are certain things that people should never say, like some people cannot say. That's what I'm asking people to do. Like, I just hope people can do, like, to self-reflect critically on how we all use language and the extent to which language is a reflection of our innermost thoughts. Like, most people don't bother to go to that level of self-reflection and self-critique. Ultimately, that's what the class is about. It's about self-education and self-critique, not trying to control others by telling them what to say or how to think, but rather trying to figure out how we think and how the words we use mirror our thinking. Now, the uncomfortable truth that we must confront is that there are indeed certain things that you can't say or do, depending on the color of your skin, and expect to get away with it. Now, this is a harsh reality that a lot of people must acknowledge and accept. It's really astonishing how some non-black individuals are really fixated on using a particular racial slur, like as if it's some sort of twisted badge of honor. I don't know, like they seem to think that if a black person can use the word, then they should be able to use it as well. But this is a flawed argument, as a sister so eloquently pointed out. The truth is that there is no equivalence between the experiences of black people and those of Pam color. The history of racism, oppression, and systemic inequality has created this power dynamic that cannot be ignored. Black people cannot say or do things that a palm color person can say or do without facing severe consequences. And I feel it's time for them to acknowledge this uncomfortable truth and stop pretending that we live in a colorblind society. Palm color people must recognize that their privilege and power come with a responsibility to be mindful of the words they use and the actions they take. And we must also recognize that this is not just about one word or one issue. It's about the systemic inequalities and injustices that perpetuate racism and oppression. You know, in as much as some people may argue that the word has been reclaimed or that it's just a word, the reality is that the word carries a profound weight of historical trauma, oppression, and racism. For centuries, the word was used as a tool of subjugation, dehumanization, and terror against Black people. It was a word that was yelled by slave owners, screamed by unaliving mobs, and spat by art deceased. The word is extremely linked to the brutal legacy of slavery, Jim Crow laws, and systemic racism. So when a non-Black person or individual uses the word, they're perpetuating a word that has been used to harm and dehumanize Black people. They are ignoring the historical context and the ongoing impact of racism on Black communities. By using this word, non-Black individuals are in effect saying that they have the right to use the word that has been used to oppress and marginalize Black people. And this is something that this palm color woman wants. She wants to use the word. Moreover, when non-Black individuals use the word, they are also co-opting Black culture and language without understanding or respecting the complexities of the Black experience. They are reducing the word to a mere word, stripping it off of its historical and cultural significance. Like, what is so difficult for these non-Black individuals to understand that they do not have the right to use the word, regardless of their intentions or relationships with Black people? You do not have the right to use the word because you don't understand the history. You don't understand the trauma that comes with that word. Before I conclude, I also want to say that there's this misguided notion that having a Black friend somehow grants you a free pass to use the word. And this line of thinking is not only flawed, but it's also rooted in a deeper issue of privilege and cultural appropriation. Let's be clear here. Having a Black friend or friends does not give you the right to use the word. This word is deeply rooted in the history of racism, oppression, and violence against Black people. It's a word that has been used to dehumanize, marginalize, and terrorize Black communities for centuries. So the fact that you may have a Black friend who doesn't object to your use of the word doesn't make it okay. It's impossible that your friend may not feel comfortable speaking up, or they may have been desensitized to the word's impact. Either way, it's not their responsibility to give you permission to use a word that has been used to harm and oppress their community. So the word is not a word that can be reduced to a simple matter of my Black friend says it's okay. It's a word that carries a profound weight of history, culture, and power. It's a word that has been used to perpetuate racism, oppression, and violence against Black people. So let's be clear, having a Black friend does not give you the right to use the word. At no time. We have finally come to the end of the video, but what do my viewers have to say? Share your thoughts as well on what you think about this video in the comment section, and let's have a conversation there. Thank you for always watching, and see you in my next video as we bring you another interesting video.